Welcome to Mindful Reality After Dark. How y'all doing? First of all, I want to start this live off by saying rest in peace to one of my favorite clients. I've lost 4 clients this year, and it comes with the territory because I work with a sick population, whether it is mental illnesses, physical illnesses, or in some cases both. So it does really come with the territory, so it happens. And all those losses have hit me in different ways. I was sad for all of them. This one out of those 4 has probably hit me the worst for a variety of reasons. Hi, Charicity. Number one, I was very connected with this client and with this client's family. I basically knew her in the hospital because that's the majority of where I saw her. Most of these people, they do go in and out of the hospital, but I see them sometimes in the hospital and sometimes in their house. I saw her one time in her apartment, and I saw her several times in the hospital. And every time I saw her, I felt so terrible for her because she had so many different medical conditions going on. She was always in pain. She had kidney failure. She had other things going on, physical and mental. And she had just came out of a long stint in the hospital. She had just been in the hospital about close to 2 months. And I saw her the day that she was getting discharged, which was, I want Tuesday of this week. It's Friday now. I think it was about Tuesday. And it was the happiest that I had seen her since I've known her. And she was just expressing to me how grateful that she was for all the times that I've been there for her. And the thing is, like, it's a job. It is my job, but at the same time, you can be there and you can not be present. And I think that that's the reason why I at least have a few of my clients who tell me things like that, because you'll get people who are there just to check the boxes, and it. Like, you can tell as a client. I've been a client. I've had case managers before. So I had one that I remember went above and beyond like I do. And I've had others that are just like, you went to the doctor? You need to go. Have you scheduled your annual checkup? Dentist appointment? Check. Bye. A month. So it was nice that I saw her happy like that. It was the happiest I had seen her. She was telling me that she can't wait to be back in her own bed. And then she was home for about 2 days. And then she called me on Thursday to tell me that she wasn't feeling well. And I was like, okay, do you need me to call 911? Do you need to go back to the hospital? She was like, I don't know. I didn't know. She didn't sound like she was feeling too good, but at the same time, that was kind of her baseline of how I knew her. She was never really feeling good. Although, like I said, the last time I physically saw her, which was about 4 days ago, she was very happy and very animated, more so than I had probably ever seen her. And actually, when I first started seeing her, she didn't even want to see me. I had to just she's like, you guys do nothing for me. Like, I guess because of her past experiences with my company. It's like, you guys don't care, you don't do anything. And then I think just because of the volume of times that I showed up for her and the times that I would just call her to see how she's doing, I do like, this is the funny thing. I have these jerks of clients that are so quick to say that I'm not doing my job. And because they're jerks to me, I honestly, they get the bare minimum from me. But the people that are at the very least like respectful and kind, they get a lot. Like, this person, for an example, I called her. We only have to call 2 times a month. You know, this was somebody I would speak to 3 to 4 times a week, just because I knew the types of things she was going through. And despite what she was going through, she was still very nice to me and just very appreciative of the things that I was doing for her. So I had no problem giving her some extra calls and just being like, making sure you're good. Do you need anything? Do you just want somebody to talk to? So she was on my mind on Friday morning when I woke up. And so I gave her a call. She didn't answer the call. And then I called her aunt, who I've also been in constant communication with over the course of the last 6 months, probably at this point. And her aunt could barely get out a sentence. She was just crying and sniffling. And I just knew that, you know, her time had come. And the aunt got out a few words and was just like, her home health aide left at this certain time, and then she was home alone at night, and then she fell out of the bed, and then they found her the next day on the floor. And she called me. I missed the call because it was after my work hours, but she called me, and I had a voicemail. On my phone from the night before. And a part of me is like, I wish I could have gotten to that call, but another part of me is like, I had no control over that. And she frankly had so many things, so many physical things going on. She just had a blood clot. In her heart like a couple of weeks ago. Like, there was, you know, I guess, and the aunt was so upset, understandably so. But sometimes there's just nothing you can do about things like that, honestly. It's tough. It's sad to see people suffering, and also it's been a hard time for me this month, this last couple of months, because 1 week ago today, I went to the funeral of my friend who was like 32 years old. And that was honestly one of the toughest funerals that I have ever attended in my life. Especially for somebody who wasn't a family member. There's a few that impacted me like that, but this one, for certain specific reasons, was one of the toughest. And it was terrible, honestly. The funeral was terrible. Not the service. The service wasn't terrible. It was terrible circumstances and unbelievable and shocking. This one was not as shocking or anything like that. I mean, she was very sick, and we all knew, including the family, that she was dying. She wasn't on hospice care or anything like that, but with the amount of co-occurring conditions that she had and the amount of hospitalizations that she had, it was just, she had infections and she had so many things going on. It was, I feel like it was inevitable, but this one was out of nowhere, seemingly. This other one was out of nowhere. So things have been piling up, and obviously I'm still thinking about my dad. So these piling losses are making it hard for me to keep functioning. I mean, somehow in some way, I still kept functioning, but it has not been easy, I'll tell you that. It's huge when you're there in the darkest times. Annual, I see my doctor every 3 to 4 months. Hi, Mom. Alright, sadly, a lot of people don't care. It's the person that makes a difference. Most of them don't care, I gotta be honest. But when I encounter a few that do, they touch my heart. They really do. It really does. Like, for instance, the day that I had today, aside from getting that news, was good just because of one of my clients actually made my day. Hi, Debbie. Nice to see you. It's been a while. I think it's been a while. My great grandma died from a blood clot. I'm sorry to hear that. No, that they act like I'm on call. Some of them act like I'm on call, but I'm not on call. My job is 8 to 4, Monday to Friday. Yeah, when it's someone's time, it's time. Yeah, so what was I saying? Yeah, so it was tough to hear that news, and I was, it kind of floored me a little bit because I literally just remember her talking and laughing, and we were cracking some jokes a few days ago, and she was asking me how my Christmas was, what my Christmas plans were, and she was telling me that she was happy that she was going to be back home. Tough, man. I didn't even come on here just to talk about that, but as I started speaking, that was just the first thing on my mind. So I meant to make that a minute or two, but what can you do? I actually have several things that I wanted to talk about, because normally when I get on here, I just freestyle, but I had about 4 to 5 agenda items, and I just wanted to start with that. So rest in peace to her, and I hope that her family finds some peace, because I've been where they are right now, which is in a place of anger, because they are thinking about, so every time that this is a person who basically could not function by themselves anymore. So that's why she kept going to the hospital. That was part of why she kept going to the hospital, because she needed 24-hour care, but she didn't want to go to like a assisted living facility or anything like that. She wanted to stay home and have an aide stay with her for 24 hours a day. But insurance companies rarely approve 24-hour care. So she got approved for like 49 hours a week, I want to say. And so that was basically enough for about 6 days. yeah, I think that she had 6 days, and then one day she was by herself. So they would be there from the morning, and then they would leave, I think about 5 or 6, and then she would be by herself. So she was always scared during that time by herself. And anyways, the family is very angry and wants to file a grievance and sue and all that stuff. And I remember my mom being in that same spot when it came to my dad's care, because there was discrepancies about bed sores that he had and whether they were turning him. I mean, I hope that you don't know about this life, but if you've had that experience, you know exactly what I'm talking about when a family member goes into hospice care and they're not able to move, and they're not able to, and they have a feeding tube. Like my dad had a feeding tube, and when you're not there, you don't know exactly what they're doing. You don't know if they're changing them on time, if they're giving them their proper hygiene that they're supposed to be doing. And then when they develop these bed sores, you're like, are you coming in to turn him every, I think it's like supposed to be every 4 hours. But it's like, if you're not in there, if the family's not in there to check, sometimes they'll leave them for a while, and then they'll just tell you, well, unfortunately, bed sores happen, and there's nothing that you can do about it. And yeah, a bed sore can happen, even if you do turn them. But a lot of times there's neglect that goes on in these places. So anyways, yeah, I remember my mom going down that same rabbit hole of like, I want to sue the nursing home, this and that and the other. But ultimately, my dad was very sick. So even if there was some neglect going on, suing the nursing home and holding people to the flame does not help you with a grieving process. That's why I'm like, I really hope that that family finds peace. And I've gone to a couple of my clients' funerals, and if they send me the details for this one, I'm gonna go to this one too. As crazy as that is, because anyone who knows me knows I'm not a funeral person. And I know someone will say, oh, nobody's a funeral person. My dad was. If you know anything about my dad, he would go to the funeral of the neighbor, the neighbor's neighbor, the neighbor's dog. Because culturally in Africa, funerals are like celebrations. So, but for me, I don't like them. But I feel like I was, a significant part of these last days of this person. Oh, Disney World is expensive, Debbie. Well, I wasn't technically at Disney World. I was in Orlando, but I went to Universal Studios. That one's rough. I used to be obsessed with Mickey Mouse. Alright. My money went through that. Oh, my mom. I was thinking that's probably what that meant. It's not fun to watch and see your loved ones go through that. Definitely not. I was lucky and we got to have hospice at his house. Oh, really? I know Junior Soprano was a funeral person. That's a TV show character. I went to Disney World once 10 years ago. It was expensive. I've had my uncle at nursing homes, and I've had to box with them a few times. Yeah, it goes like that. So anyways, I was moving on from that. Oh, I really had 4 specific things, and that was supposed to be just a quick note, but it ended up being 20 minutes. And I forgot 2 of the 4 things. But the second thing that I was going to say, for those who didn't see my community post, Cara had told me to send her the footage of when I go to Tori's event. And I sent it to her. I think last Saturday I sent it to her, and she didn't see my link until today. So when she saw it, she messaged me like, "That's hilarious," and then she reposted it on her Instagram, and it went from 1,000 views to like 12,000 views within 4 hours. I think that's my highest viewed Instagram reel ever, just because her following is so strong. And she commented on it, and Tori commented on it, and that was very cool. I like that. I was happy about that. But something that I was thinking about was that I was looking back at the 2 videos. I mean, I've seen the videos plenty of times. Every time I make those videos, I watch them back several times. But I watched it with a completely different lens today, because I was looking at it, and I was looking at the confidence I had in speaking to these people. And y'all don't see this because I don't really have video footage of the first 2 to 3 events that I went to, but I still remember clearly the very first event that I was at. I sat down at my table, and when the challengers came in, I didn't get up. I was like, oh my goodness, that's Mark Long. That's Derek Kaczynski. That's Bananas. That's Johnny Bananas. And I was just sitting in my seat. And I was nervous. I was so nervous. I was really nervous because, number one, I'm like, wow, these are people that I've watched on TV for so long. Number 2, I have some social anxiety. So I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to say? And I just sat there. And the only reason at that first event that I ended up getting up and speaking to them is because somebody from this Facebook group that I was on, he was a part of the event. Like, he was working the event, I guess. And he was like, what's up, man? How come you've been sitting here this whole time? Do you want to meet somebody? Do you want to talk to anybody? I was like, yeah. And he was like, well, get up, and I'm taking you to the back. Took me to the back, and there I was with all the cast in the VIP section in the back, all of a sudden. And I'm talking to Johnny Bananas, Derek, Mark, whoever else was there. I can't remember. Those are the main people that I remember from that first one. And then I went home and I was like, wow, this was the coolest thing. And then I think I went to 1 or 2 more. And I didn't come there to be any kind of a standout. I just came as a fan to just see the people and shake their hand, take pictures, give them a hug, whatever it was. And that's what I did. Until I think the challenge Philadelphia, they had like a Philadelphia event. I can't remember if this was last year. Yeah, I want to say that it was about February of 2023. And I had this idea to create these trophies for Olivia, Nerisse, and Anissa, because those were the people that were going to be there for that one. Hold on, let me get to these comments really quick. Excuse me. I'm much better now that I had Mickey. Everything I painted my walls as a kid was Mickey. I'm part of the Disney YouTube community. We have become good friends and family. Uh, thank you. Okay, so yeah, when I brought them the trophies, Nerese wasn't there, but Olivia was there, and Anissa was there, and they had such strong reactions. So not only did they have strong reactions to me giving them those things, after the reaction, we had these really good conversations that took place. I feel those were like amazing conversation starters. So that started to shell a little bit, because when I would present them with things, the whole room full of people would stop whatever they were doing and they were paying attention to me. And at first, that gave me an extreme amount of anxiety. But then after a while, I just forget about it. Like, let me just focus on the person that I'm speaking to, and who cares if the other room is staring, taking videos, laughing, whatever they happen to be doing. So as I watched this video of this Caro thing that I did at the Challenge Mania event that Caro was at, and then when I was speaking to Tori at her event, at her function, I was like, I have really grown, because I remember when they pulled me on the stage for, when I got up there for that Caro thing, because I did not expect them to pull me on the stage, because everyone else who had a question, they just let them ask the question on the floor from the bottom of those stairs. But he was like, come up here, Caro. And after that, I remember this lady coming up to me, like, after I got down from the stage, and she was like, man, were you scared to do that? Because I would have died to be standing up there on that stage with those challengers looking at me, and then answering a question or asking a question, and I was just like, you know what? That's how I would have been a couple of years ago. But honestly, I didn't feel nervous slightly. Like, the stage fright was completely gone, and I didn't know that was even possible, but it was. It was completely gone. I wasn't feeling nervous. Matter of fact, it was fun. It was actually fun. Like, imagine somebody that you have watched on TV for like 2 decades, and then you show up in this outfit and you get on that stage, and I looked over at her. That's what I was looking at, because she was like, Caro, Caro, Caro. She was like, you're a star today, Caro. And I was getting such a big kick out of that, because she acts like she's my fan. And it's a really cool thing. It's a really cool thing. So I owe this page for that. I do. I owe my YouTube presence and the people who have followed me and supported me on YouTube for that, because I wouldn't have gone to half of these things if not for y'all. I honestly go there to make those moments so that I can record them and so that I can put them on my page. I mean, a part of me goes for the fan part of it too. I'm not saying I go exclusively just because of that, but I will say, I said this before, it's like 70-30. 30% of the reason I'm there is because I'm a fan, and let me say that again. Yeah. 30% is because I'm a fan, and 70% is because I have content to create, and it's a great opportunity for content. And also, I actually really, really enjoy. You see their reactions in those videos. Like, I like doing things for people that give them those types of reactions because it's something that they're going to remember. It's something they're going to cherish. Because, like I said, I know that they go all around the world, go to this place and go to that place. This is just one stop. These people do this basically for a living. You know, like that's one of their main functions. Go around, meet fans, have events, sell things. Like in Tori's case, selling her books. So to see them get such a huge kick out of whatever it is that I happen to do, whether it's a gift that I brought for them or whether it's like a costume that I put on like last time, like the last couple of times, is awesome, really. Somebody asked me if I was a public speaker when I got off the stage. They're like, "Are you a public speaker?" And then when I went to Tori's event, there were several people that were like, "Are you from some show? Because I swear I remember you." And I didn't know why they were saying that, but then I realized they had seen my online videos and they had seen me, some of them had seen me at other events and they just remembered me from whatever event it was that they had seen me at. One of them even showed me a picture that a video that they had of me from that event from a couple weeks ago. So that was really cool. It's cool to have a relationship with Kara. Reminds me of my relationship with Cliff. Uh, I mean, I know that people probably think I'm trying to. I'm sorry. I know that people are probably think I'm trying to downplay it, but I would say that this is more. It's a. It's a we have a good rapport, but these relationships I have with the majority of these show people are on the transactional side. Like there's a few of them that I speak to. To me, I'm like, if it's a person that um I don't know. I don't know. I know what I'm saying, but I don't know. It's not coming out that way. But it's just like Wes, you know. I'm not subscribed to his Patreon again. If I resubscribe to his Patreon and I message him, I'm sure that I'll get a nice response. But if I don't resubscribe, we'll probably never speak again. So it's the same type of deal with Kara. And nothing wrong with that, you know. I get it, but you do look like you could be on TV. Not to zoom in again. We are going to we're going on a gimbal ride. Yeah, so everything is coming together for this interview. I'm really looking forward to it. I have a lot of things in mind for it. Even throwing me some ideas. Yeah, Ma, this is getting annoying. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to prop my phone up on my phone holder. See. Okay. Yeah, anyways, so I'm looking forward to this interview. Um, Cara has actually given me some ideas. About the interview. She said that we could even talk about some All Stars 5 stuff, which I'm looking forward to. But I'm not going to be able to talk that much about All Stars 5 because Wes has taught me how fast an hour can go by. Like you think, oh, I get a whole hour to talk to this person. And then you ask them like 5 questions and then look at the time. And then you're like, wow. So I honestly have so many things prepared to say to her that the All Stars 5 part of it has to be very short. Let's see. Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, she reposted my video of her and of me and Tori in her story, in her Instagram story. It's still there right now. Let's see. Am I gonna remember the 2 other things that I had to talk about? Number one. Number one. Number one was the person who passed. Oh, number 3 was the client that I met up with today because I have given so many stories of these nasty, rude, awful clients that I just can't stand dealing with. But I've had this client that I've been seeing for like October, November, December. I've been seeing her for like 2.5 months. It will definitely drive people to my page. I think I felt so excited about that share, not just because the first time she ever shared me on her story, I just felt excited as a fan because I'm like, Cara Maria shared this video of me on her story, took a picture of me. She put it on her own story, and it was her picture. Um, and she had me sign the stars and put it on her page. So the fan in me was just fanning about that. But this recent couple of things that she's put on the stories, like she is genuinely supporting my brand. And I really, really like, appreciate that. That has humanized her to me in so many ways. Like more than just the people that are like, yeah, I'll do an interview with you. The funny thing is, I have done so many different interviews, like I said, maybe about 12 of them. And I think maybe 3 of those 12 people have shared my interview on their story. They're just like, I'm just gonna do the interview and all the advertising is on you. And she hasn't been like that. The only other person who ever did that is Sam. She shared me on her Instagram and her TikTok several times. But nobody else has really gone that extra mile to do that. Or to even tell me, oh, I have some ideas. Like during the interview, you could talk about this or you could talk about that. Like she's actually invested in trying to make my project a good project, which I strongly, strongly appreciate. But anyways, as I was saying about the client, without giving up too many details, the client came here from another state. Good night, Debbie. Thanks for jumping on. The client came here from another state and she was going through a lot where she was and came over here to New York. Family issues, relationship issues. There was just many things happening. So she connected to our program. She was in the hospital, and then she was connected to our program. And then I met with her, and I didn't know what to expect. It's a big deal. It is a big deal. And it is exciting that she's backing you, so it's exciting. Yeah, so I met this client. I didn't know what to expect from her. And as a matter of fact, I did not necessarily even want to meet with her because of the fact that, and I told her this too today, because of the fact that she's located so far away from me. And they just put her on my caseload because the person who's covering that area is not currently working. Like, they're on a leave of absence. So I was like, here we go again. I got to go drive an hour out of my way to go see somebody else. And then you're going to play with my expense report and not pay me on time with my reimbursement money. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. So as I started working with this person, they were telling me things that brought me back to my peer counseling background and why I originally started in this field of work in 2013. Because as a case manager, compared to being a peer specialist, by the way, I don't know why I'm taking this off of the thing, but I do want to show y'all that it's kind of snowing. Not much snow, but it's a little bit. A little something, a little snow. But anyways, yeah. What she was telling me is that she was somebody who was always self-sufficient and somebody who was always and now she finds herself in a position that is hard to be like, I need help getting these government benefits. I need help getting food stamps. I need help getting this cash assistance, you know? And she was like, I don't like feeling like a person who is just needy and dependent, right? So I had an opportunity to tell her, I might look like I have it all together, but I don't. And as a matter of fact, coming full circle, you know who told me that recently? Cara Maria. Cara Maria told me that she might look like she has it all together, but she doesn't. She's like, I'm figuring things out every day. I'm still learning and growing. I'm still figuring things out, and I'm still trying, failing. But I told this client that Vicky's on the West Coast, I'm pretty sure. But I told this client that there was a time when I was on government benefits. There was a time when I was not working. There was a time when I needed case managers, therapists, psychiatrists, all of that. I did all of that. And I said it was just a time period in my life, and I got through it, and here I am. Like, I'm better for it, actually. So I said, don't think of yourself as a failure because you went through an unexpected and tough time in your life, or you are going through an unexpected and tough time period in your life. And just because you need these things now to help get you back on your feet does not mean that you're going to be in that position forever. And I don't know what you're saying, but you're out of here. Uh, let's see. And she really appreciated that. She really appreciated somebody just telling her. She told me at the end of my session with her, and I'm saying session. It's funny that I'm saying session because I did like a little bit of case management work for her, which was the case management work that I did for her was helping her apply for one of those government phones. And also, I filled out a form for her, which is called a biopsychosocial assessment. And then I helped connect her with a therapist. Like, I did those things for her, but then I spent a good 40 minutes just talking to her like how I would when I was a peer counselor. Because you could never really turn that off. You can never really turn off who you are. Even like I feel like because there was a time I left the mental health field altogether, and I remember somebody asking me, "Oh no, you got my camera." I remember somebody asking me like, "What are you gonna do without that fulfillment piece in your life?" And I was like, "You know what? Once a counselor, always a counselor." You know, like yeah, even my car has some dust or snow to it. Once a counselor, always a counselor. So, anyways, that's one of my favorite things in this field is to be able to talk to somebody who is kind of in the space where I was. And I was that age too. She's 25. And that was the age when I got my diagnosis, I think 24 or 25, like about that age. Not that I didn't have the issues before that age, but that was the age when I finally went to go see a psychologist and get myself a diagnosis. Southern Cal, SoCal. No snow in Sacramento, but it is close by if you want it. So yeah, that conversation. Oh, so at the end of that conversation, she was like, "Mark, met up. We've had hour and a half meetings. We've had 20-minute meetings, 15 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever it is." She said, "Whatever little interactions that we have, they always make me feel so hopeful." She said, "I come into these sessions," and she calls them sessions. I guess you could call them sessions, but they're not really sessions. They're case management meetings. Sessions to me are like when I was a peer counselor because I was actually counseling. So those were considered counseling sessions. But these have probably become more like sessions than case management, honestly. But it's like every time we have a session, whether it's a 2 minute or an hour, half an hour, whatever, I feel hopeful. And before I get into the session, sometimes I have felt really down, or sometimes I've been crying, sometimes I've been feeling hopeless. And then just your attitude, your positive attitude, and the way that you always give me another perspective to look at things, and the way that you're so upbeat and uplifting and transparent and sharing the things that you've been through and the things that you've overcome. She was like, "I'm so lucky that I ended up having you as a case manager," because she said, when they asked me if I wanted to do case management services, I signed up for it, while I was in this detox facility, but I didn't really care about that. I just signed the papers. So when you ended up calling me, I was like, I don't know who this guy is. And when I meet him, it might be my first and last time speaking to him, because I've spoken to so many case managers and different people over the years. And I'll give it a chance, but I, I don't necessarily really care for it. Um, it was actually so nice to hear that, because like, you guys don't know, the majority of what I hear in my field is negative, whether that is from my own leadership or whether that is from my clients who act like everything that goes on in their life is my fault. There was somebody that I remember that was talking to me about his case management experience. He was yelling at me, actually, not talking to me. He was yelling at me about his case management experience and telling me, oh, he actually said to me, Mark, you ruined my life. And no joke, I had been working with this man for about 2 weeks. I had met him in person one time and called him on the phone a couple of times. And he told me that I ruined his life. And I'm like, what did I do in that span of time that ruined your life? Like, I just met you, dude. Like, what are you talking about? So it's so nice when you actually have somebody tell you something like that, show you some kind of appreciation for the things that you do and the things that you say, because I personally feel like I do great at my job, but not just that I do great at my job. I'm one of the few people that actually cares about my job. Not in a sense of, oh, I'm just trying to make some dollars, because I would not be in this field. I would definitely not be in this field if that was my primary goal in life. I would be far away from case management, that's for sure. But I care about people, and when people recognize that, it just makes me feel good. So I was coming off of being emotional over this person who I just got this news that they died. And then I come into this session, I was like, okay, this is not this person's problem. So I have to put this in the back of my mind for a little bit so that I can be fully present for this other person who has so many active issues right now. And they're still here. So I did that, and then I got that compliment at the end, and it was such a boost. It was such a boost to my spirit, because doing things like this that are so hard for long periods of time and not receiving so much as a thank you, and actually not even just not receiving a thank you, but being told that you're not doing a good job, it can get to you. I try to act like it doesn't get to me at work, but it does. It really gets to me bad sometimes. Hi, Chocolate. Unfortunately, I'm hopping off here in like 5 minutes. But fortunately, y'all know I'll be back tomorrow. Probably tomorrow afternoon or evening. Hi, Brian. Hi, Chocolate. His initials are not BLT. If you want to know what, oh, if you want to know what BLT is, well, Brian can explain, but it was his operation to get a date with Leah, who it has not officially actually been confirmed that she's with Cedric. So you might still have to take someone else's woes. Um, it does get me down. It gets all of us down. That's the whole thing. Years, connecting since being in the mental health field, I've sat in many of my colleagues' offices while they cried things that have happened with their clients, whether that be somebody passing away or whether that be like some of my colleagues are parents and then they're seeing things that the mother is going through with their children that hits close to home, or whether it's just something, a family issue that they something that they experienced in their own home. Like, it gets to all of us. But you develop an ability, you have to develop this ability, especially when you have a big caseload like mine. You have to develop this ability to not let anything that's going on with you, whether personally, professionally, with other clients or whatever, to carry over. Because I feel like, to me personally, I feel like that's robbed the next person of the time that they deserve. It's just like, if any of you you go to a therapist. Before I worked in the, I didn't think too much about this, but I would go into my therapist's office every week and I would dump on them. As in, here's all my problems. I got this going on and I got that going on and I got this going on. Right? And the type of relationship you have with the therapist, they're just there problem solving, listening, and resolving. But they have their own life that goes on in the background where they have their own set of problems. And also, sometimes your problems are heavy. And there's no way that you can just absorb that and not have it with you. But one thing that I have had to do over the past almost probably 10 years of being in this field is, like, most part, there's two things that I have to accept. One is that the people that I'm working with are troubled. They have issues. So I really have to be day to day with it. Like, I have to just appreciate my interactions with them today and know that any one of these times that I speak to them could be the last time that I speak to them. Or I could give and then to whatever it is that they were doing that I was advised. And to just know that, I did my part. And because when I first started, I used to feel really sad about the outcomes of what was happening to these people. And I was saying to myself, I guess what I was saying or doing was not making a difference. And I remember a mentor of mine early on was telling me, like, the outcomes have nothing to do with you. You did your part, just listening, providing hope and presenting solutions, and now it's on them to take whatever you've said to them and decide whether they want to utilize it. And just because they went the opposite, what you've talked about, does not mean they did not appreciate and respect you. It means, they were going to struggle, and that's just the nature of the beast. Brindley's toes. Yeah, it's a normal human reaction. I'm so empathetic, so I cry at commercials at the drop of a hat. So, wasn't going to survive this field of work when I first started it, just due to being an empath, due to being a strong empath. I thought that it was going to be impossible. I'm just making sure this person doesn't hit my car. Anyways, I thought it was going to be impossible for me to sustain, because I used to get so devastated about everything that was happening with my clients that I would just literally be in my bed depressed about it, like, because I was feeling like this is my own family or my own friend. And yeah, that advice that I got from my one of my first bosses in that field of just leave everything at the door. It was something that took years for me to develop, but now I'm there. Now I'm there. I leave it at the door. I couldn't be a 911 operator, nor could I work in a hospital. Oh, that person does not have the parallel parking skills because there's a huge space between my car and the other car. They couldn't make it. Uh, take something personal and heavy to make me cry, even if it's a sad fictional death. I only cry if it was a real life loss. That's a depressing thought to think about. I couldn't do that, and I couldn't work in a hospital. Those are two things. I work for a hospital right now, but I couldn't be the person who works in the hospital. Oh, they're making another attempt at parking. I couldn't work in the hospital and just see a rotation of people die like that. Like, I've had 4 clients die this year, like I said, and that was enough. And I didn't see it. I just or spoke to somebody who gave me the information after the fact. Although I almost did run into somebody because I was scared to see my client, one of my clients, their home health aide was seeing them at 9 and I was seeing them at 10. So the home health aide ended up calling me. Thank goodness that this is not even a job training thing, but thank goodness that I'm somebody who, because I'm going into people's homes, unless they are just by themselves completely, I connect myself with everybody that's in that home that I can. So in this case, I connected myself to the home health aide. Like I would coordinate with the home health aide. I would actually come during the times that she was there, and also with the family members. Like I put everyone in my phone, and I communicate with everybody. So because of that, I was able to get a heads up from the home health aide because the home health aide got there an hour before I was supposed to get there, and then hit me up and let me know what happened. So I didn't have to actually go there, and it was a crime scene. It was kind of crazy, actually. Oh, it was so crazy because this is my first month on the job, and there was like a domestic violence thing going on, and these other case managers were going into that house and not seeing the person with black eyes and broken bones and stuff, and just not even reporting it in the notes. So I came in there, and APS came over, and then a week later he was gone, and I think that foul play. I mean, I never got that information, but I'm pretty sure that it was foul play because they taped up the scene and left the body there for a while. Crazy. My mom was a nurse, and she has seen so many people die in front of her, and she tells me that she was desensitized. The only time I've seen super sad for any death was her husband and her dad. Obviously, it's different when it's family. She took those really hard. I mean, losses, so understandable to take them hard, but she never took, like, she, all the times that I was with her at different funerals and things like that, never even saw her shed a tear until my grandfather's in '09. I hate to always be on this topic, but it's just really life. It's just actually what's going on around right now. Death happening around me, and I'm just to get through things, you know, and to still have to be present for a lot of people. And trust me, that's not just like a natural gift. Then I have to actively choose to do. Like having heard of a death of a client that you were really cool with, and then you're talking to a family member of that person on the phone. They're bawling their eyes out, and then 30 minutes later, you're meeting with this other high needs person, and you have to just turn that off. It wasn't even a matter of, oh, it doesn't affect me, or I didn't absorb it. It was like, what I had to do, it's a skill. It's literally a skill that I've learned over the years, which is basically I can't deal with this right at this moment. So there will be a time when I can mourn and grieve, but that time is not right now. Like I can fully think and process on this later, but I still have another few hours that I have to be present for the people that I am serving. And then I was able to be present. Like I said, it's not something that I hear very often, and like the reactions I get from you all on my page, or the reactions I get from people on my social media, or from friends, or from whoever, is not the same type of reactions I get at work specifically. At work, they treat me like I don't know. The things that I do are, for the most part, not, except for that 10% of people that are just enough to keep me going. Because without that 10%, I would have left the field a long time ago. I wanted to be a nurse originally until my dog got hit by a car in front of my home. Oh, wow. That's terrible. Don't be sorry. It's real plus T. I also volunteered at a VA hospital one summer. You know what? I couldn't stand the smell of the hospital after going into the hospital um 4 days, like 4 or 5 days a week for a while to see my dad. I couldn't stand being in a hospital, the check-in, the smell of the room, any of that. So when I first started at this job, I wasn't aware of how often I would have to be in a hospital. Matter of fact, I don't even think I was aware that I was going to have to be in the hospital at all. Lo and behold, I'm in the hospital like 3 to 4 days a week, and it was so triggering when I first started. I almost was at a point of like, this is not the job for me, because after my dad went, I was like, it's going to be a long time before I'm in anybody's hospital. But I guess now it's a regular thing for me. I'm not triggered by it. I don't love going in there every week, but it is a really nice thing when the people that I'm going in to see, a lot of them don't have family. Like, my dad was so fortunate because he had me, and I was there often. And he had my mom, she was there often. I might have been there more often than her, as a matter of fact. But, and then he had a string of family and friends that would come and visit him every week. Some people don't have that. So for some of them, like me coming in there fulfills that for them. Even though I'm not going to see them 5 days a week, even my 1, 2 visits a month is better than the 0 that they would have gotten otherwise. Anyways, y'all, I'm about to hop off of this thing. Thanks for tuning in. We got more things upcoming. I've been saying that I'm going to do this end of year in review, where I go through some of the moments that I've had on my page. I want to do it. I'm planning to do it, but I'm hoping to be able to do it where I can clip some video footage of different moments from the page. But if I don't end up getting the time to do that, then I'm just going to jump on and do like an end of year live. It might not be on New Year's Eve because a lot of people do things on New Year's Eve, so maybe I'll end up doing that the day before New Year's Eve. So make sure to hop on for that. And please make sure like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified when I get some more content. Talk to y'all soon.